The best putters in the world get 4 things right when they make putts: a perfect setup, a perfect stroke, a perfect speed, and a perfect direction. Seymour's patented and proven rifle scope technology putting system helps golfers improve all 4 areas. Here's how. First, get in a comfortable posture. Square the face to the target line using the putter's alignment line. Then hide the red dot. Doing these 3 things will set you up in an optimal stance, square to the putter, square to the target line, and with your head, shoulders, hips, and hands in alignment. Now you're locked onto the target, like radar, free to putt with confidence the same way every time. Take your game to the next level by becoming a great putter with a Seymour.
Okay, Ethan, so we're recording your video now. All right, so here's what your golf swing looks like, and here's the recap of your lesson. So let's bring up the pressure mat where you're standing on this little mat here. So work on trying to get your weight 50-50 on both feet. Really kind of pay attention to where you're leaning at address, because it's going to play a big part in how much side action or movement you're going to get this way, right? 50-50 on both feet. When you get to the top of your backswing, your weight transfer is pretty good. When you get to the top of your backswing, it gets to about 70. It should be around 80, so you really want to kind of lean back. All right. Just be careful though when you're doing that, you're not leaning back on the outstep of your foot there. You're going to keep it on the instep, right? So you can put a little wedge underneath the outstep of your foot, so it kind of pushes you onto the inside. All right. So what we talked about is, if you look, right, let's keep your down the line picture here. So if I just make the shot on the right, this is right before impact, you can see how your hips are almost the same. Your hips, knees. So we're going to work on, basically next time you come in, we're going to work on your setup position and your posture position, stand over it in a better athletic way. But you see how there's no really movement there. If I take Jordan Spieth, there's a definite difference between his setup position and impact position. All right. So when we get that going, together, right, we got to get your lower body movement. So the drills we did, hit as many balls as you can doing the 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock swing. Get real good at that. When you start feeling solid hits and that ball going out like 50 or 60 yards, good solid hits into the net would be good for you. Right? Don't worry about distance, just worry about contact. And what you're focusing on is rotating your hips. Rotating your body around itself, all right? So when you get sick of doing the half swings 9 to 3, you do full swings, pistol grip. Okay, full swing pistol grip, all right? And then what you can do, if you don't have, if you want to use your brother's stick and ball on there like that, you can, but you just take your alignment stick and swing the alignment stick. No good. Better. You can hear that swoosh down closer. So just as long as you hear that swoosh and it's not coming from here, right? It wants to come down lower. If it's still hanging in your backswing, it's a telltale sign that your body hasn't moved and your hands are making the manipulation. Your hands are doing the correction rather than your body. Your hips and your midsection are really the muscles that square the focus, not the hands and wrists. All right. So that'll help you with more solid contact.
Rory McIlroy is only 5'9", 161 pounds. But in the U.S. Open, he bombed his drives an average of over 310 yards. Our question is, how does a golfer Rory's size get so much length off the tee? The key to generating distance is what's called the kinetic chain, drawing energy from the ground up through the legs, through the torso, into the arms, and into the club. And in the middle of that kinetic chain is a critical link, the hips. And it's Rory's extraordinary hip action that caught the eye of Dr. Greg Rose. At the Titleist Performance Institute, Dr. Rose has worked with many of the world's best golfers, including Rory, using technology to analyze aspects of the golf swing that are difficult to see with the naked eye.
Rory's got that beautiful tempo, but as he comes through impact, all of a sudden something very different happens, which makes a lot of us sports science guys look at this and go, wow, what's going on there? If we look at hip speed, most amateurs are around 300 to 350 degrees per second. That's how fast they're rotating. Most pro players are around 550 degrees. Rory gets to this amazing 720 degrees per second on the downswing.
What's truly remarkable about Rory's hip acceleration is that it has another gear, reverse.
So if I'm looking at anatomy, you got to understand your abdominals, they run diagonally. Those are called your oblique abdominals. They start on your rib cage and they run down to your pelvis. So imagine it's like a rubber band attached to either side, and as that rubber band is contracting, it's going to grab both sides and pull them closer together. So in Rory's case, those abdominals fire so hard, it actually takes his lower body and it actually spins in the opposite direction. Right there, it's actually moving 377 degrees per second the opposite direction, which is just crazy.
In other words, for a split second, Rory's hips actually move backward faster than most golfers ever move their hips forward. This reverse rotation is extremely rare. Out of the hundreds of pros he's analyzed, Dr. Rose has only seen it a handful of times. And while it isn't the key to Rory's length, it's an amazing indicator of the intense torque Rory uses to generate ball speeds of over 175 miles per hour, among the fastest in the world. Of course, Rory McIlroy didn't win the U.S. Open just by being long off the tee. His ball striking helped him set the Open record, hitting an amazing 62 out of 72 greens in regulation. For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.
Well, the most important thing in a golf swing to me is the movement of the lower body from the top of the swing. And if you don't mind, I'll demonstrate. First off, you start down below with your knees and your hips. At the top of the swing, you move the lower part of your body, not your shoulders, the lower part of your body, letting your arms and hands follow, bringing you into position to hit. But this is the first movement there. Then you release at the bottom. Most people do it entirely opposite. They rotate their shoulders first instead of their lower body. As a result, they come across the ball and hit the outside of the ball instead of the back of it. If you don't mind, I'll hit a ball, and the first thing to watch is what starts first from the top of the swing.